You are tuned to Hound Waves, Portalis. You are currently listening to Let's Talk TRiO on ENMU Student Radio. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Thank you, listeners. You are listening to Let's Talk TRiO on Hound Waves ENMU Student Radio. I am your host, DJ Obi-Juan. And this is it. This is our final broadcast for fall 2013. It has been a very successful semester, not only for us here at Let's Talk TRiO, but also for Hound Waves as well. On our final show this evening, we have a super secret guest whose identity I am revealing right now. Joining me this evening is Yuridia Leyva, ENMU Upward Bound alum and also a student at the University of New Mexico, and currently holds the title for Educational Mentor and Tutor for the TRiO Student Support Services Program at UNM. She has an amazing success story to share with us, and she will join us live in about 10 minutes. For now, let's kick this thing off as we usually do. There is a little bit of Christmas music that I have picked out for your listening pleasure today. If you are our friend on Facebook, you saw a little sneak peek on what we're playing tonight. Right now, we'll start this thing as we always do. Here's a little bit of Lifehouse with Silent Night. That was Pentatonics with Little Drummer Boy. Before that, you were listening to El Burrito de Belén by Julio Preciado. And right before that, we always start the show off with Lifehouse, and that was Silent Night. I am bringing you my special guest this evening. Her name is Yuridia Leyva. She is from the University of New Mexico TRiO Student Support Services Program and ENMU Upward Bound alum. Hello, Yuridia. Are you there?
I'm here.
Hi, Yuridia. How's everything going?
Well, everything's going great. I'm glad to be done with finals, so
yes.
I'm having a really good time. Still kind of thinking about them, but...
Yeah. Well, it is that time of year where you're finishing up your finals or you're done with your finals. And so what's next after for you? This semester is done. More classes on the way for next semester?
Yes, I'll be taking... So this is my I've just started grad school this semester.
Oh, my goodness,
so
yeah.
I still got some time left, got some classes left to take.
Right on. What are you getting your master's in, if you don't mind me asking?
In statistics. So
Statistics.
Initially I was going into mathematics. I applied for the PhD program in mathematics, and I got in, so that's what I'm technically doing this semester. However, after a really cool experience in North Carolina, using my math skills to do research in the health sciences, I decided to switch over to statistics. So I immediately started taking classes in statistics this semester.
Oh, wow.
But it doesn't feel any different from studying math. I mean,
yeah.
It's very, very similar.
Wow. Not that I have any experience of learning math, because I think my math classes were done in my undergraduate years. I'm taking probably learning a little bit of how to gather data for my graduate school as well. So that's as far as I know as far as math is concerned. But you're moving on to a PhD. That must be really, really, really exciting after a master's program.
I switched over actually from a PhD to a master's program for now at UNM. But that's only because my ultimate interest, my PhD interest, is in biostatistics, and UNM doesn't have a biostatistics program, so I'll have to move on somewhere else for the PhD. But I thought it'd be a great start to go ahead and do a master's in statistics.
Wow.
And I feel really good about my decision.
Yeah.
I switched over, like I said, because of my experience in North Carolina this summer. I attended the Summer Institute for Training in Biostatistics, and this was at North Carolina State University. And so my career interest was always somewhere in the health sciences, and but I also really enjoyed math. That's what I majored in high school. In undergrad.
Right.
But and I also majored in chemistry. But I always thought I would have to choose between a career in mathematics and a career in health sciences. But after attending this internship, I realized I can do both, and that's really,
nice.
I'm really passionate about that.
Well, fantastic, awesome, very, very awesome over there, Yuridia. I mean, you're doing an awesome job. I know with the holiday seasons approaching, also your family, you must be at least. Are you going back home for the holidays?
Well, not to Clovis.
Okay.
I feel like I have so many homes.
Oh yeah.
Because I went to high school, and that's where I attended Upward Bound. Well, technically Portalis, but I used to live in Colorado, in Denver, Colorado, and that's where my dad lives. And I came to visit him right after finals were over, so that's where I am.
Right on.
And my mom actually doesn't live in Clovis anymore. She lives in Albuquerque now. So
okay, right on.
I feel like I have so many homes, but
Okay. All right. So before we, we have a little bit of knowledge about you. We have some information, but let's do a formal. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Where are you from? What high school did you attend? Blah blah. Let's go through all those formalities so people get a good understanding of who you are, Yuridia Leyva, as the person.
Great. So a little bit about myself. I was born in Garden City, Kansas, and I lived there until I was about 7 years old, and then moved to Denver, Colorado, where I lived until the end of middle school.
Mm-hmm.
So then I moved to Clovis, New Mexico, and ever since junior high, that's where I grew up. Went to Clovis High School and attended the Upward Bound in Portales, New Mexico, at Eastern New Mexico University, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm living in Albuquerque, attending the University of New Mexico. I graduated in May, and I just started my grad program in statistics, my master's program in statistics.
Okay, fantastic. What was the most challenging thing about high school for you as you transitioned from junior high to high school? What was the most challenging thing for you there?
Well, initially I was really, really, really shy. I remember in middle school, actually, I was so shy, and I had trouble. I wanted to go up to people and introduce myself and say hi and make friends, but it was such a challenge for me. Maybe not so much in high school, but it definitely started in junior high, which was 7th grade, and kind of almost went on to high school in 9th grade. So I remember I was too shy to even make friends, so I started working at the cafeteria. so I didn't sit with people at lunch because I was way too shy. And then my friend, she became my best friend in high school, Roxanne. And I remember she came up to me and said she really liked my hair and that I should sit with her at lunch one of these days. So after I met her, I stopped working in the cafeteria, and she was so social, and I was so quiet, so we were perfect for each other. I mean, she introduced me to a lot of friends, and we just, we worked really well together. But then when I moved on to high school, it was much easier for me to make friends. I think I was an overachiever in high school, so I don't feel like it was super challenging as far as academics, although I did really stress out over the smallest things. I mean, I was such a perfectionist and overachiever, and so that's kind of, but I think, so then I joined cross country when I was a sophomore. I joined cross country, and I think that was the most challenging thing about school for me, because, I mean, I really loved running, but the competition would just kill me. I would make myself so sick before every race because I'd be so nervous, I didn't want to be the last one.
So that must have been really nerve-wracking, I'm sure. And so with one of them, what about academic challenges? Were there any academic challenges? Like you said, you're an academic overachiever. You really pursued perfection. Was there any class you really worried about?
Oh, yes. I was really worried about this physics class I took.
Oh, the physics class.
It's kind of funny how that progressed. So for my chemistry degree as an undergrad, I needed to take physics too, and I was terrified. I mean, I love math and science, but I was so terrified about taking physics too because I thought it was going to be like the one in high school, and it ended up going great. I mean, it was one of my favorite classes. I can't believe I waited so long. I think I waited till the summer before my last semester of college, undergrad, to take physics 2, and I regret it. I was like, if I would have taken physics 2 earlier, I might have at least minored in it because I loved it so much. So to backtrack a little, in high school, I struggled in physics 1. But I think the reason I struggled so much in there is because it was a one-day-a-week class. It was on Mondays, which, first of all, is probably not a good day. No, it seems like nobody likes Mondays.
Yeah,
and
there's something wrong with Monday, I think.
Yes, it needs to be a weekend day. That's the only day it would be socially acceptable.
Right. But I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
If it were added to the weekend.
Yeah. I'm sorry, you were saying, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Yes, there's no problem. So it was a one-day-a-week class, and the worst part of it is that our hardest day in cross-country was Monday. I don't know if it's because weren't required to run over the weekend, so taking a weekend break from running. I mean, sometimes I ran on a Saturday or a Sunday. Our coach recommended that we run at least 6 days a week. So the overachievers like myself would at least run on Saturday or Sunday. But the fact that there was a break there, I think made it just so much worse. So Monday was my hardest day in cross country. I would get home, eat something really quick, and then have to go to class for 3 hours. And I think that was the main challenge about it. I was really worried I wasn't going to pass, but I got an A somehow. I don't know how.
Hey, you got an A, so that's good, right?
Yes.
Right. Now, you were in high school, and you got interested in the Upward Bound program. I want to explore that a little bit. How did you become interested in the Upward Bound program? What drew you to the program?
Well, in high school, the same teacher who taught my physics class, or I guess the same building in there. There were only 2 classrooms in that building. That same building where I had my physics and chemistry classes was ROTC. So I decided to join ROTC my sophomore year also, and I met Viviana Ontiveros. She was also in Upward Bound, and I remember we became pretty close friends. We would volunteer together. I remember volunteering with her at the fair, the Curry County Fair. And I remember her telling me about the Upward Bound program as soon as she met me, and said it was really amazing, and talked about how the Upward Bound program motivated you to go to college and gave you all the ins and outs about how to apply and what to think about, and just everything a high school student would want as far as college preparation. And so it sounded really interesting, and I immediately requested an application and decided to apply. And it was one of the greatest decisions of my life, for sure.
Fantastic. One question. You went through the Upward Bound program. You participated, can you tell us how many summers you've participated, or how many years you participated with the program?
I participated 2 years, 3 summers. I applied for the Upward Bound program I guess the spring semester before my junior year. So I guess the spring semester of my sophomore year.
Okay.
And so I was admitted for the summer and began to have an excellent experience as far as TRiO programs are concerned.
Okay, fantastic. And through the Upward Bound program, who was your biggest influence, kind of growing up in that program?
With all caps, Susan Cramp. And I'm not just saying, I think a lot of what I'm saying right now is definitely not because I'm on a TRiO talk themed conversation. Right. It's definitely things that I tell people every day when I try to convince people to, join TRiO programs. By far, Susan Cramp, she was amazing. I mean, she was such a great example. I think a lot of us really learned so much from her. I mean, she was such a great influence on us, helping us with everything. But every staff member was also very influential. I mean, we looked up to a lot of our grad student teachers, and everyone who worked in the Upward Bound program was just really wonderful. I remember Matthew Gordillo. He would run with me because I was in cross country. He would help me train, and he really liked running, so he'd accompany me, and we'd run around the school, and he'd kind of coach me and joke that I would be a track star and everything. I mean, he didn't joke. I took it as a joke because I knew I wasn't a super track star or anything. But everybody was just so amazing there. And Susan Cramp being the director, I feel like, even though she was a director, I feel like I saw so much of her, and I just always liked being around her. Okay. She was a great influence.
Well, I'm sure if she's listening right now, she is probably just smiling from ear to ear. She's smiling and just being very grateful that you were part of the program. Another question for you, Yuridia. Going through high school, college was always in your mind, right? I mean, college was something you wanted to do?
Well, I think so. I mean, I think it was always in my mind because my dad always told us, I have 3 siblings, and he always told us 4 kids that he wanted us to be better than him. He wanted us to obtain an education. He always instilled in us that importance of obtaining an education. Right. And I think I always assumed I would go to college. As soon as he started talking about it, I assumed I kind of needed to go. And I loved school, so why not, you know?
Yeah.
But I didn't realize all that went into it. I mean, initially it sounds easy, like, oh yeah, I'm going to apply to college.
Right.
But Upward Bound definitely helped with the ins and outs about it and all the little details and the applying for scholarships.
Right. A lot of people don't realize, I guess with some of the talk going in with government, that people don't realize that first-generation students really don't have an idea of what the college application process looks like. And it sounds like for you, it was like, Upward Bound kind of gave you a flashlight, per se, and just gave you a nice way to look at an application process and say, okay, I can do this. I can definitely start getting a roadmap on how to apply to college, right?
Definitely, they really demystified that process, and I think first-generation college students, as you mentioned, they don't necessarily know what a college application entails all the time. Especially sometimes being the eldest sibling of the family,
yes.
or even being the second eldest. I mean, without Upward Bound, I really don't know how that would have gone. I guess I could have asked my older brother, but my parents were separated, so he lived in Colorado, I lived in Clovis, and it was just very, I'm very thankful for Upward Bound helping with all that.
Okay. Awesome. Before we wrap up this segment of the interview, because we'll have more with Yuridia before we go on a music break, one question we'll get in there, and then we'll go into music break, Yuridia. What was the most memorable experience you had with the ENMU Upward Bound program?
I think the ENMU Upward Bound program as a whole is one of my most memorable experiences. I think I remember, I have so many memories of Upward Bound. When I was in high school, I feel like I remember those more vividly than some of my college experiences, just because I constantly think about Upward Bound. And I guess we'll talk about this later, but I'm still really involved with TRiO programs.
Right.
So right. I'm always thinking about Upward Bound, all those awesome experiences we had, such as all the college and university visits, asking all those questions. And each of these experiences had memorable experiences in themselves as well. I remember our Boston trip. We took a
Boston.
trip to Boston.
Yeah.
It was amazing. And as seniors, we went to the Grand Canyon.
All right, right on.
Yes, I remember Johnny, who was a senior at the time also, he kind of started climbing some rocks, and then a huge rock fell on his head, and he was bleeding, and we took pictures. And he has very light skin and very blonde hair, so he kind of looked, he just looked like he was going to faint or something,
oh my goodness.
Yes. But I even have memories at the cafeteria, just dining with the students in that ENMU ballroom, our orientations outside, and the very bottom floor of, what is that hall?
The Ground Zero?
At Curry Hall?
Oh, I got Curry. Oh, you know what? You got me there. I think it's Ground Zero or at the cafeteria if you're talking about.
The dorms where we stayed?
Yeah. Curry Hall. Yeah.
Yeah, Curry Hall. This one. Yeah, I remember orientation there and just hanging out at the dorms and doing homework and playing capture that flag with our amazing Kenyan runners. I remember feeling really proud one time that I caught one of them. I'm not going to say any names so I don't embarrass anyone, but I was so proud of capturing the flag. I was so proud of capturing the flag from one of the Kenyan runners, but it was, to give them credit, I mean, it was because he slipped, but, I mean...
That's the story, right? And you're going to stick to that.
Yes. But running with Matt and Nim and the dances, you know, the Upward Bound dances at the end of the year, and being a wallflower all the time, I was so shy. I think I'd rather watch the people dance rather than dance myself. I actually used one of Susan Cramp's... I'm sorry?
Oh, no, go ahead.
I actually used one of Susan Cramp's moves last night. I went to a holiday party with my dad's work, and I used some of her cool moves, like the shopping carts and everything.
Susan, I hope you're listening.
She really was influential.
Absolutely. Okay, Yuridia, if you want, can you give us a call right back in about 10 minutes, and we'll continue the interview?
Absolutely.
Okay, and I'm going to push the off button on this, so it's going to sound like I hung up, but please give us a call back in about 10 minutes.
awesome.
All right. Thank you, Yuridia. We're talking to Yuridia Leyva from the University of New Mexico TRiO Student Support Services Program. She is the tutor slash mentor education mentor. I think that's her title. She'll correct us a little later. Right now, we're going on a brief music break. More with Yuridia here in just a minute. So I hope all of you out there are listening. We have a very awesome guest. So stay tuned. Here is what I have lined up for you is She and Him, Baby It's Cold Outside. Rock on with Christmas. That was the Trans-Siberian Orchestra with Wizards in Winter. Before that, you were listening to Do You Hear What I Hear by William Beckett, featured on the Punk Ghost Christmas album. And before then, you were also listening to Baby It's Cold Outside by She and Him. In a little bit, we'll be joined by Yuridia Leyva from the University of New Mexico TRiO Student Support Services Program. Again, welcome back to Let's Talk TRiO here on Hound Waves, ENMU Student Radio. We'll hear from Yuridia here in just a minute. We're going to go on a small music break until just to give our guests just a little bit of time. So here I'm going to play Joy to the World by Train. That was Train with Joy to the World. Right now I'm being joined by Miss Yuridia Leyva from the University of New Mexico TRiO Student Support Services Program and ENMU Upward Bound alum. Hey Yuridia, you still there?
Yep.
All right. So a lot going on. Now you've transitioned on from high school, graduated, and you've just completed your bachelor's at UNM. Can you tell the audience what you studied and your college experiences while you were at UNM?
Of course. So when I first started at the University of New Mexico, I wasn't really sure what I would major in, and Upward Bound certainly coached us so much on that, but I was always really indecisive, still am a lot of the time, but I wasn't really sure. I was undecided at first. But then I noticed that I really, really enjoyed math and science, so I decided to pursue a Bachelor of Science in Mathematics, in Applied Mathematics. I love math. And I decided to minor in chemistry because it involved a lot of math, and I really like chemistry. But then that minor in chemistry turned into a major. So I ended up getting 2 bachelor's degrees from the University of New Mexico, one in applied math and one in chemistry. And when I first started out at the University of New Mexico, I was super, super shy. I always had a health career in mind. So I joined a living and learning community where I had 2 classes, one in first aid and another one in research, with my dorm, with my roommates. Actually, the entire floor within those classes together, the entire section of the dorm. So we lived together and we attended classes together. But I was still so shy. I was pretty much only friends with my 4 roommates, my closest ones. But then I joined Student Support Services. I remember being told in Upward Bound by Susan Cramp and Matthew Gordillo that we had to join Student Support Services at our institution if there was one. And I remember in freshman orientation, there was a fair, and a bunch of organizations were trying to have you join their organization. And when I saw Student Support Services, I immediately applied. I mean, when Eva told me about Upward Bound, I applied pretty quickly. But when I heard Student Support Services, I applied even quicker. I was like, I really want to continue with this TRiO, these TRiO programs. And so that's when they started getting me out of my shell.
Yeah. Okay. So they started kind of coaxing you out. They helped you. What about their as far as the Student Support Services program is concerned? What was different?
Well, one thing that was really different, I think. Well, we attended. We didn't have Saturday meetings anymore, which was pretty different for me. In Upward Bound, we met every other Saturday and talked about college and everything. But this was different because we had to meet with a tutor/mentor. We didn't work super closely with the director and even the advisors until it came to advisement, which typically they recommend as a freshman, at least at UNM, that we attend advisement meetings once a month at least. And we had to attend tutor/mentor meetings at least twice a month. But I wasn't super, well, my first semester as a freshman, I was really involved with student support services. I went on a lot of cultural events with them, and I always saw my mentor, tutor, every other week. But then the second semester, I started getting really busy, and I didn't come in as much. But I was identified as a potential tutor. I was asked by the advisors if I would consider applying for SSS, and of course I did. I jumped at the opportunity. I had the Upward Bound experience, and I felt like TRiO family anywhere is just amazing.
Yeah. It's kind of like you never left, right?
Right, exactly. Slightly different people, but everyone in TRiO programs, I would like to take, I would like to say that even though I haven't been to every TRiO office, in the world, in the United States, but I've been, so I worked for Upward Bound in New York City. Oh, wow. As a counselor after the summer after my freshman year. So I wasn't a tutor for student support services yet, but I had been identified, and so I was in the process of applying. But so right before becoming a tutor mentor for student support services at UNM, I went to Poughkeepsie, New York, to be a counselor, just like our amazing grad students. And so there, TRiO family was amazing. That's when I kind of started seeing that TRiO family is really amazing. They care so much about their students. I witnessed it at University of New Mexico Upward Bound. I was employed for them as well. Really? I believe that same year, maybe not, maybe a year after I worked for SSF, I was employed at both places. Oh, wow. And in North Carolina, I've met TRiO family. I ran into Upward Bound students in the cafeteria when I did my internship. So, and everybody in TRiO just treats you so nice. Every conference I've been to, and there's a TRiO person, they're just so amazing. They really care about you. Yeah.
There's this, and I don't know if you've picked this up, but this really, the TRiO staff, the people that serve TRiO, are really ones with heart of service, that they're really, really just genuinely interested in seeing you succeed.
Definitely. I saw it when I met the staff in New York City, when I met the staff in North Carolina, I met the staff in Albuquerque. Just everybody's so amazing. TRiO.
Fantastic. So what is your formal title at the Student Support Services program there at UNM?
Currently, I'm a volunteer. So right before graduating, I worked for TRiO SSS. For 4 years, and I was an educational mentor tutor, EMT. I liked it because it sounded like a health science title. Right. And I still got really cool teaching experience and got to work with a lot of students. Nice. And but right now I'm volunteering. Since I'm a grad student, I couldn't be employed anymore, so I dedicated some time during the week to volunteer. So it's like I never left.
Okay. So you're still volunteering your time to TRiO. Magnificent and excellent, by the way. Wow. I mean, to still give back to TRiO programs, and with the knowledge that you have, it really serves student support services programs.
I feel like I will owe TRiO forever just because they've been so amazing to me. Right. I mean, after joining student support services, after working for a couple of years, they moved me on to Ronald D. McNair, and I still continue to work at student support services as an employee. And I moved on to the Ronald D. McNair program and got some research experience. And again, TRiO family was amazing. The staff were just, like I said, they just care about you so much. They really want to see you succeed, and they will do everything in their power to help you do so.
Nice. Next question. How does working or volunteering for student support services, how does that fit for your fit in your overall kind of the career plans that you have in the future?
Well, in the future I would like to my ideal job would be to be a biostatistician. I would really love to be a professor at UNM, preferably. Oh, cool. And but at the same time, I would like to work in the hospitals. I mean, I know a professor currently who does that. He's a professor at UNM, and he also works with the hospital as a statistician. So I think that would be the perfect job. And so as far as SSS is concerned and me volunteering as a mentor tutor, I think that fits in perfectly because I'm getting a lot of teaching experience, getting comfortable talking to students, multiple students, and they just broke me out of my shell early. So I feel like that's not going to be much of a problem, but it definitely gives me, like I said, a lot of teaching experience and courage to stand up there and teach a lecture and feel confident.
Yeah, wow, amazing. Next question for you is, as you mentor students who go through the SSS program, before you became a mentor, is there anyone specific that mentored you?
Yes, and she's actually one of my good friends now. She Snapchats me every single day. Nancy Flores. She was my mentor, and gosh, that was so nice because she kind of, I guess I learned a lot from her once I became an educational mentor tutor. So she kind of talked about her experiences in high school and kind of her first year of college. So it gave me a heads up about what to expect and what to watch out for, what not to get upset about.
Right.
So it was just really helpful. It was like having an older sister.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. And in your opinion, how important is the mentoring component of student support services?
I feel like it's crucial because I feel like a lot of time when it comes to professors and students, or teachers and students, teaching assistants even, there's somewhat of a separation between them, especially socially. So a tutor could also mentor me. The fact that I could talk to my tutor who was helping me with some science classes, some chemistry or something, the fact that I could confide in her and ask her for advice made me feel like I had an older sister, a good friend, and that applies for, even people who worked for SSS, students, undergraduates who worked for SSS who weren't necessarily my mentor, still mentored us, still mentored me, even though it wasn't official. So I think it's very important because a lot of us don't have older. I have an older brother who I didn't live with since I was 12. So a lot of us are living with someone who's been through all the ropes and everything.
Right, someone who has that experience or someone that can...
Exactly.
Okay. And with getting a mentor yourself and feeling that the mentoring component is really, really crucial, I'm going to ask you this question, and I hope I don't put too much pressure on you with this question. What is your favorite thing about working or volunteering with the TRiO Student Support Services program?
What is my favorite thing about working the TRiO Student Support Services?
Again, not too much pressure on you. Sorry.
I feel like the SSS program where I am volunteering, where I worked as an undergraduate. So there are a variety of programs. There's college enrichment program, there's student support services, and there's a camp, college assistant migrant program. They all have the same mission to help students earn their degree. So one that's from SEP, but it applies to the entire third floor of where SSS is located. It's bachelor's required, master minimum, dedicated to doctorate.
Wow.
So I feel like it's an excellent statement. It's not necessarily a quote, but it's an excellent statement for motivating us to obtain our higher education.
And what can you say was your drive? I mean, you're really passionate about education. It really sounds like you really just want to move forward with everything that you have going on. What is your drive? What is that keeps you pursuing your education?
Well, I certainly feel like I have a lot of motivation from my father and just a lot of passion for helping people. And so initially I wanted to pursue a medical career. I wanted to attend medical school, and that's what attracted me to the University of New Mexico. And after getting a lot of shadowing experiences and volunteering at the hospital, I realized I really wanted to help out in health sciences, but just not by going to medical school. So I feel like knowing that I can contribute to the health sciences without having to be a medical doctor, I can be a doctor in statistics, or I can, be a biostatistician. I feel like that's so amazing that I can still contribute to that by not even being, by not even becoming an MD.
Yeah.
And I feel like I got a little bit of that in North Carolina this summer with my internship. My group did research in patients who have unstable angina, so they have heart pain, and so we took a lot of their data, such as their blood pressure, heart rate, whether or not they've had a heart attack before. And we tried to estimate, so we tried to estimate the time between symptoms and treatment, the ideal time that one should seek treatment after experiencing symptoms. And I feel like that's so amazing. I mean, we always hear these statistics like about vaccines or just about medicine, like how it can, how long you should wait between dosages and everything. So it's very similar to that, and I thought I think that's really amazing, and it really motivates me to move on, even if it's challenging.
Okay. What's one advice that you would give to upward bound students listening?
What I would tell upward bound students listening, or I guess what I'm going to tell them, would be to really be kind to the staff and to each other, to the upward bound staff, the TRiO family, to really be kind to each other and try to be grateful, because it's an opportunity that doesn't occur for every person, every first-generation college student. And especially with all these budget cuts we're seeing in government, a lot of TRiO programs have been cut, and it just saddens me but it makes me grateful at the same time that I was able to go through this, because had we not had TRiO and Portales, I would have really missed out on this opportunity and on this wonderful family, these wonderful people. Yeah. So I would just say, be kind, be grateful, because the TRiO family really cares about each and every one of you, regardless of how much you may disagree.
Okay, and what about advice you would give to students who are going through the Student Support Services program? What advice would you give them?
I would give them that advice. I would say, don't be shy like myself. And if you are in the beginning, it's okay. Just come in and we'll break you out of your shell.
Awesome. So now looking ahead in the future, we're wrapping up this conversation with Yuridia Leyva from the University of New Mexico Student Support Services Program. Where do you see yourself 10 years from now? And I know you touched a little bit on that you want to be a biochem engineer or biostats engineer. What is ahead for you, and what do you see yourself doing 10 years from now?
Well, I'm recently engaged, so...
Oh, congratulations!
I'll be married. Thank you. I'll be getting married next year, and I feel like 10 years from now I'll probably have some children. And like I said, I'd really like to be working at UNM. I have to leave for the PhD in biostatistics if I decide to pursue that. Have to leave because it doesn't. There's no biostatistics program currently at UNM. But I'd really like to return and teach there, and just be really involved too with TRiO programs. Try to reach out to STEM majors and just try to show them that even though they might think they can't do it, they sure can.
Yeah. And one final question before we let you go. First of all, Yuridia, a fantastic show so far. Thank you so much for being a great guest. You've provided a lot of great answers, and a lot of great things are coming your way. But before we end our show, or before we end the interview, rather, what do you want to tell the audience as far as support for the TRiO programs? What do you want to tell the audience?
I really hope that, I haven't said everything I can about Upward Bound, about SSS, about Ronald D. McNair, but these programs are so important for first-generation college students. These programs really push going to college, getting through college, and going for the PhD. And I would really appreciate the audience's support, because they're motivating a lot of kids to go to college. When they may think they're not able to do so. I really hope that we can get a lot of support. And with a lot of programs being cut, it saddens me that these services are being reduced. But I just really hope that we can get the audience support so that we can keep the TRiO programs that are still standing.
Awesome. Fantastic. Yuridia, again, you're such an amazing guest. I really appreciated you having on the air today. Fabulous work, and I see a lot of great things ahead for you.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely.
I appreciate that.
And hopefully maybe we can have you in the show again sometime in the future.
I would love that, because I'm sure I have much, much more to say.
Absolutely.
About awesome TRiO programs.
Absolutely. All right, Yuridia, you have a great evening. And again, thank you.
Likewise, Juan.
All right.
Thank you for having me on the show.
Absolutely.
Take care.
You too. Bye-bye. Well, ladies and gentlemen, you were listening to Miss Yuridia Leyva from the University of New Mexico TRiO Student Support Services Program and TRiO Upward Bound alum, and she's also a student of the TRiO McNair program as well. You are listening to Let's Talk TRiO on Houndwaves ENMU Student Radio. So far, we have a great guest. Everything awesome. We are at the top of the hour. You can listen to ENMU Houndwaves, ENMU Student Radio, broadcasting live 24/7 at www.enmu.edu/radio. We had such a great guest. I can't say that enough. Yuridia is just an amazing example of what a TRiO alum can do as far as contributing not only to the conversation of TRiO, but really the impact that she speaks about, her success story, just amazing. We are going to take a brief break here in just a minute, but I also just wanted to let everybody know that with TRiO, a lot of things are possible. With TRiO, really just an amazing thing. Later on the show, I will have some information for you all as far as TRiO updates. As you probably noticed, I do not have my co-host here right now. Hopefully he can come in before we end the show. But we are going to go on a quick music break. We'll be right back. I have Mariah Carey on the dock for you. So here it is. All I Want for Christmas Is You. That was Kelly Clarkson with Have Yourself a Little Merry Christmas. Right before that, you had Mariah Carey with All I Want for Christmas Is You. You are listening to Let's Talk TRiO here on Houndwaves, ENMU, Portales. We are so proud to be on the air. This is our final show. We are playing such great music for Christmas music. I did promise Christmas music. So I just want to reiterate how this has been a great year so far for Let's Talk TRiO and for Houndwaves. We are gaining more and more interest in student radio, which is just fascinating. It's awesome. And one of the things that I love about student radio, one of the things that it's independent. It creates this sense of music that anybody can play. Of course, music that's just not listened to in traditional radio. Local radios may tout new and exciting music, but I'd like to think that student radio here has the most eclectic mix that you can find. Before we sign off, I do have a request by my daughter Jasmine and by my wife Melinda. This is a song that my daughter listened to when we were watching the movie Frozen. So she was just she really loved it. And so I'm now playing it for her. This is Idina Menzel and Let It Go. That was Idina Menzel and Let It Go by the Frozen soundtrack. It was such a spectacular movie, just worth watching. One thing, ladies and gentlemen, that this just in, you are listening to Let's Talk TRiO. We do have an urgent message, TRiO related. We do have an announcement for TRiO programs. This just in, TRiO programs are in jeopardy, and we need your help. As you know, the House passed the Bipartisan Budget Act of 2013. Now this bill will be considered by the Senate. This is a bill that needs an extra nudge and really needs to be put out there. So I am encouraging anyone, if you are listening, to please call our senators from New Mexico, Martin Heinrich, at number 202-224-5521. Again, that number is 202-224-5521. I would also like you to call Tom Udall, another one of our senators. Please give the number. The number here is 202-224-6621. Again, the number is 202-224-6621. This is a huge thing. You're going to introduce yourself when you call them. State, my name is, of course, your name there. I am a citizen of Portales, New Mexico, whatever New Mexico area you're from, and I'm calling to urge Senator Tom Udall or Martin Heinrich to vote in favor of the Bipartisan Budget Act of 2013. This is an urgent message. If we can please get anyone listening to go ahead and call those numbers, we'd greatly appreciate it. It's in support of TRiO. All right, with that, ladies and gentlemen, We have only minutes to spare here in the radio program. This was such a great show. Really, this is it for us. We will be back in the spring of 2014. I just wanted to thank everyone for joining us this evening. Miss Yuridia Leyva, all of our special guests, Esperanza Leyva, Ed Warden, Chris Luna, Bryant Gomez, Tara Grant, Victoria Smith, everyone who participated in our radio interviews. I also want to thank my wife, Melinda, and my kids, Junior, Jasmine, and Javi, for all their wonderful support. I also want to thank DJ Brother Rod for co-hosting this season. Just a very wonderful radio program this evening. Also, I want to send a special thanks to our radio advisor, Dr. Roger Gatchett, and especially to you, our listeners. It's just been a magnificent ride. This part of Let's Talk TRiO season is wrapping up, and we couldn't have done it without you. This has been just a great, again, I can't reiterate enough, a great season for us. Let's Talk TRiO has been supported not only by... It's just been a radio program in the making, somewhere where TRiO programs have a media to outreach to the audience and to get the message out there of how not only how successful these programs are by hearing our alum, but hearing from staff directly about how these programs are out there outreaching our students and making a difference every single day. TRiO programs really do need a voice, and I am glad that my colleague, Miss Victoria Smith over at KSUA 91.5 in Fairbanks, Alaska, and Let's Talk TRiO here on Hound Waves is pushing that message forward, and we want to just want to thank everyone for listening. Really, thank you for making us as part of your Sunday, and really for having us listening to us online. And again, don't worry, we will be back next semester, spring 2014. We look forward to it with more interviews, more guests, and just a lot more show. But before I go, I just want to really say I wish you and your families a warm and happy holidays. For TRiO Talk, this is DJ Obi Juan signing off for Let's Talk TRiO. Have a wonderful, wonderful winter break. And I just hope you have a very Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and a prosperous New Year's. I leave you with the Goo Goo Dolls and Better Days.